Nomination Day will take you all over the country to see which candidates are competing for the crown in the upcoming municipal elections. And former Prime Minister Dean Barrow appeared before the Commission of Inquiry today. You'll hear the sharp exchanges with the PSU rep. Also, a body found buried in a shallow grave at a farm on the Hummingbird, and a dismembered body found in the Mopan River. We'll tell you what police are saying about these two apparent murders. Plus, Michael Ashcroft sponsors a gym for the police. You'll see the Compal pushing some weights. We've got details of these and many other stories in our newscast for tonight, Monday, February 15th, 2021. Good evening. With your news, I'm Indira Craig.
Start your year with a win with Bellikin and its new promotion, Papa Stopper. Yes, sir. Every time you pop one stopper off our Bellikin, make sure you check under the crown. If you see one bottle shape, you win one free Bellikin. If you see one ball, you win $20. If you see one star, you win $100. And once you see one diamond, you win $1,000. Sure, Bellikin again, you know. Papa Stopper. When you pop a stopper off a Bellikin, check to see if you're a winner. You can collect your free beer or $20 cash prize at the store nearest to you. If you win $100 or $1,000, redeem your prize at the nearest B&B sales center.
Promotion is valid until Saturday, March 27th or while supplies last.
Papa Stopper!
Bellikin, the beer of Belize.
You've worked hard your whole life building your future, your family, your business, your home. And when you aren't around to safeguard your most beloved assets, you are at ease because you know they are protected by RF&G Insurance. For over 50 years, RF&G has been making sure business owners get back to work after an accident, and families get back into their homes quickly after a natural disaster. At RF&G, it's you who matters most. Visit us today and learn why it pays to get it right. RF&G Insurance, a Rowe Group company.
If you have been directly exposed to the new coronavirus or have a history of travel in infected populated areas, it is recommended that you self-isolate. Identify a room to be used to self-isolate and limit contact with healthy persons. Keep away from older persons and persons who have medical conditions that affects their immune system. Monitor for any cold or flu-like symptom for up to 21 days and wash hands frequently with soap and water. If you become seriously ill, call your healthcare provider or 0800 664-2273 for guidance. A health and wellness message from your Ministry of Health.
In partnership with the British High Commission.
Dear Belize, the coronavirus has swept across the world, including our beloved country. It has impacted our health and devastated our economy. But all is not lost. Collectively, we all can make a difference. We can take precautions and protect ourselves and each other. Limit your social interactions and stay safe with the people you love. We are living in a new normal, but we can still enjoy all the wonderful things that Belize has to offer. Everything is still there. That little spot on the beach you love, your favorite restaurant, the friendly faces. Let's commit to wearing our masks, sanitizing, physical distancing, and washing hands regularly. So stay safe today so we can enjoy tomorrow together. Sincerely, an optimistic Belizean.
You have a neighbor throwing a party? Do you know of anyone holding a social event? Have you seen people not following protocols set in place to reduce the spread of COVID-19? If so, report them immediately. Use SMART or BTL and call 0800-PARTIES. That's 0800-727-8432. Our COVID-19 hotlines are available 24/7. These violators are putting your health and everyone you love at risk. Call our COVID-19 hotlines and report all violators. This message was brought to you by the Belize Police Department.
Municipal elections will be held in 15 days, and today over 140 candidates countrywide were nominated for the 67 seats which are up for grabs in Belize's 7 towns and 2 cities. Our teams were out west, up north, and in the city, and we'll have coverage from all those areas. We start in the city at the IT Vet, where 22 PUDP candidates and a few independents were nominated for the 10 councillor and 1 mayoral seat. The morning belonged to the PUP as the current mayor and his slate entered the compound backed by few supporters as limited by COVID safety regulations. Courtney Menzies was at the IT Vet and has this report.
This morning, the blue wave rolled into the IT Vet compound as the mayoral and councillor candidates prepared to be officially nominated. For some, it is their first time trying their hand at politics, but for others, like the current mayor, Bernard Wagner, it is the second time vying for office. But while the electorate speculates that the council has failed to do its mandate, Wagner reminded everyone that they've maneuvered through a UDP central government as well as a pandemic, which, in his eyes, is success.
Well, we have been on the ground not only for the past 2 weeks, but we have been on the ground for the past 3 years as a city council, and so we believe that the work we have put in as a city council in terms of the social infrastructure, in terms of physical infrastructure, all in a pandemic environment, I believe that in itself is success. The fact of the matter is that our council came under a UDP regime. We were not given any hands out compared to the previous council. The previous council had in its coffers over 40 million given from central government to them in the area of the bonds and in terms of funds from Petrocaribs. We were in a COVID pandemic.
For 1 year, Mayor?
For 1 year. But prior to that 1 year, we were well on our way to achieving most of our manifestos, which our manifesto, we have completed about 90% of it. The fact of the matter is that you cannot compare this current city council that was in for 2 years, 3 years, with the previous council who was there for 12 years. And so success in terms of the residents, some residents may define success by cement streets, by bloated contracts. No, we define success by reaching out to the people. We have done tremendous work in impacting the lives of our residents in this city. We feel more comforted now that given that we have a central government that will be able to work along with this council. We are excited, and that is why we have these young people with us, that they are driven and they want to see success for the city. We want to ensure that the quality of lives for city residents improve.
Another candidate who is no stranger to the polls is Alan Pollard. This is Pollard's third time being nominated as he contested the general elections, which he lost. Now he's back running for City Hall, but despite his loss in November, he believes he still has the people's vote.
I think that compared to what we've done, I think there's so much more that we can do as an entire council, not just me personally, and in many different areas. And I think with now the collaboration from the central government, I think we could really get the local government involved in, Plan Belize, and that's the overall plan for the nation. So the best way that this city council could incorporate in that would be excellent.
You've gained the people's favor, and that was seen in the general elections when you lost, but you lost in a UDP stronghold by such few votes. Yeah. People love you, but they know now that your end goal is central government, and they might be losing that trust as it comes to city council. How do you plan on gaining that or keeping that trust?
Well, I think that trust is something that that can't erase. Given the track record, given how we've carried ourselves in office, the work that we've done in local government, I think people are more so excited rather than worried about my transition. I think people are excited for me to come back, and just based on the feedback that I've been getting campaigning from house to house, people are very excited that I'm still here and I'm still working with the council. So I don't think there's any ill feeling for them.
And while his fellow candidate, Kaya Katus, is new to the political arena, she's not new to the people of Belize. Katus is a well-known cyclist, and she plans to take her knowledge of health and fitness to City Hall.
This name has been a household name due to my accolades and my accomplishments in sports, both at home and internationally. Now I want to transfer all this dedication, determination, the passion I have for my sports and for the champion that I have become to my political career. The reception has been overwhelming. People are very happy that I have chosen to give of myself and serve for the people. And a phrase that I have been using on the campaign trail is to become a champion for the people. My aim and objectives before going on this venture has been sports, healthy living, in that field, in that category of things, and definitely coming to the council, that is what I bring to the table. Imagine a city erupting with sporting activities on a yearly basis, not only for a particular period of time or on weekends or during the summertime. Imagine our residents being able to have access to exercise right within their constituencies. These are things that we plan to bring to the table.
Katus is one of 4 women who are part of the PUP 11. Diane Rekenya is another. And not only is she a woman in politics, at 21, she is also the youngest councillor candidate countrywide. And while some may scoff at her age, she's confident about bringing the youth perspective to City Hall.
As a young person, we've always had to take the back seat when it comes to social issues. They told us that we don't need to get into grown folks' business, and that is why I'm here, to get involved. Yes, we are the future of Belize, but we need to start take action now, and that is a platform that I'm jumping on.
And also a young woman, you've already been targeted by cyberbullying without even being elected as yet. And this might happen more once if you get elected. How are you planning to deal with this?
I don't feed into negativity. I'm on a positive journey, and that is what I'll stay on.
Courtney Menzies, 7 News.
We note that the UDP also has a 21-year-old female candidate, and you'll hear from her later on in the news. But first, a word from the UDP's mayoral hopeful, Orson Picard. He was flanked by councillor candidate, and they are both former colleagues of ours in the media, so we hit them with the hard questions. Here's the exchange.
My team and I are really elated. It's official now that we are the UDP Belize City 11 slate, and we are ready to continue the work that we have been doing and consulting with the people of Belize City in order to convince them to cast their ballot for us on March 3rd, 2021.
This is a proud moment. This is a proud moment for myself. This is a proud moment for my family, and this is a proud moment for my community. So I'm coming all out. It's not every day somebody from Crawl Road comes and get nominated to run for Belize City Council. So this is a big day for us.
Are you guys as proud and glowing, brilliant red as you look are you all a team of sacrificial lambs?
There is no sacrificial lambs here, Jules. I can speak for myself and my councillor candidates. We wanted this opportunity to serve the people of Belize City. And because we have been granted that opportunity and made official today, we will continue to consult with the people of Belize City, the residents, and come March 3rd, we will deliver a victory for the United Democratic Party in Belize City.
I believe in the community service that I intend to carry out. I believe in community projects, I believe in community sports, and I believe individuals from neglected communities know what it is like when resources do not reach your community. And I intend to put my best foot forward to ensure that the resources of Belize City reach our community.
Yeah. But real talk at the same time, I reach it if you all were to win, you know that central government in Belmopan would starve you all, and you know that a previous UDP council has made a commitment for your subvention to go straight to the central bank to pay one of those bonds. So I'm saying that you all would be starved if elected, because the PUP in Belmopan can't help you and won't help you.
Jules, the City Council is still collecting trade license, it's still collecting property taxes. The long and short of it, the City Council can sustain itself.
When UDP used to send motorcade, there would be great sound and fury, thunder and lightning. But then today you had an abortive motorcade, and I'm not making too much out of it, these things happen, but I'm saying that is the rewind and come again motorcade, is that indicative of the fact that the UDP, once a muscular and tremendous political machine, is trying to find its legs after that devastating blow in November?
Jules, what happened was that I got ahead of myself because I was so excited to actually reach here to get nominated. And so I basically grabbed Anjo and Kenny Morgan, and I said, well, let's go, because I already see the cat already. And so once we get in at the cat end up the left. So I must humbly apologize to my colleagues for the rewind and come again. But nonetheless, I can say that because of the COVID protocols, we couldn't have the big amount of showing that we wanted. We have to keep everybody safe.
As we told you, we'll have more from the UDP councillor candidates later on. And changing gears now from local to national politics, former Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Dean Barrow today appeared before the Commission of Inquiry set up to investigate the sale of government assets between October 2019 and November 2020, basically in the year preceding the election. In that time, government sold 112 vehicles for about $300,000, and Prime Minister Barrow would have had to sign off on most of them. But he did this after the paperwork came up from the Vehicle Care Unit and through the Financial Secretary. Today, as the very first witness in the first day of hearings at the Government House compound in Belize City, Barrow volunteered his involvement in the sale of 3 vehicles to outgoing senior government officials, but said that he also put up a firewall to prevent a mass sale of assets, mainly vehicles.
Whenever, though, an election, a general election, was imminent, there would be a number of requests coming from ministers who did not feel, for one reason or another, or were not sure that they would be returning. So there would be not a stampede, but certainly an accelerated pace of requests from outgoing ministers to be allowed to purchase their vehicles. Because we were aware that it was more likely than not that people would be making these requests, the Financial Secretary and I discussed this, and we thought we better launch a preemptive strike, because we were talking about especially unusual circumstances, especially critical circumstances where the finances and pretty much everything else of the country had been ravaged by COVID. The Financial Secretary therefore wrote a letter with my endorsement and blessing to the Cabinet Secretary to say, let ministers, chief executive officers, all know whoever comes next, there will be no money for replacement vehicles. So we will sell to outgoing ministers and chief executive officers no vehicle.
But despite that preemptive strike, former PM Barrow outlined the exceptions that he was directly involved in. One was for retiring President of the Court of Appeal, Manuel Sosa. The other was for outgoing UDP Minister Dr. Carla Barnett, and the other for Deputy Prime Minister Hugo Pat. He started with Justice of Appeal Sosa, who asked to buy his government-supplied Toyota Land Cruiser after 12 years of use.
The government vehicle, the vehicle that had been assigned to him, he had been driving for 12 years. He asked Mr. Chairman and Commissioners whether he might be allowed to purchase that vehicle. But he made the request of the Financial Secretary, who did come to me. I will say, and stand foursquare behind this, I had absolutely no difficulty in telling Mr. Waite that as far as I was concerned, that was a request we needed to honor. Mr. Justice Sosa, during his entire tenure on the Court of Appeal, refused to have any policeman assigned to him as security, and refused the offer of a driver to be paid for by government. Those two things over that 21-year period saved the government a great deal of money. In my view, it would have been churlish, mean-spirited in the extreme, not to have acceded to the request of Mr. Justice Sosa. Dr. Carla Barnett, who was, as you know, a senator, and who was not coming back into government no matter what, regardless of the results of the election. Which results people like you knew to be a foregone conclusion, Mr. Chairman, but it didn't matter. Whichever way it went, Carla Barnett was not coming back. She spoke to Joe and then spoke to me and said, listen, I've been a consultant. Well, she served, as you know, all over the place. Vice President of CDB, Assistant Deputy Secretary General at CARICOM. She said, look, I'm going back out and I'll be on, in effect, my words, not hers, the mercy of the world. I won't have the money to buy another vehicle in a better condition than the one I'm currently driving. I would wish for you to make an exception to the policy that you've laid down and allow me to purchase my vehicle. Again, I thought her circumstances were exceptional and that she should be allowed to purchase the vehicle. Mr. Waite, the Financial Secretary, Joe Waite, had Customs do a valuation and came to me and said, I think this valuation is too low. And Joe recommended that we sell to Dr. Barnett for more than the Customs valuation, and that's what happened. The only other exception in the run-up to the general election came by way of a request from the then Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Hugo Pat. Again, the Deputy Prime Minister went directly to the Financial Secretary, who came to me. I spoke to the DPM and I said, but you know the policy anyway. I thought that also as a special favor, I would agree, and I so indicated to Joe Wade. What happened thereafter, though, was that the usual requirement from me that there be a customs valuation so that we could document that we were not selling for any undervalue did not happen. And I don't know whether it was because that didn't happen or whether there was some other reason, whether it just fell through the cracks. But that one did not come to me for my formal approval.
And from the sale of vehicles to the sale of customized furniture and a laptop plus iPad to the former Attorney General Michael Parafit, the former Prime Minister said he learned about this matter after the sale was completed and got a sharp response from the PSU rep, Luke Martinez.
He either wrote to or called Joe Wade about the purchase of furniture that, for the most part, he tells me, was furniture specially treated. I will need to be delicate. Furniture consisting of a couch and some chairs that had to be acquired with certain dimensions and size specifications in mind, and in addition had to be reinforced because of Senator Parafit's size and weight. His finance officer said to him, why don't you apply to buy these things? Half of them nobody else can use. They were specially adjusted for you. And so in that context, he spoke to the financial secretary. But a letter did come from the vehicle care unit saying that these pieces of furniture he was advising needed to be disposed of. Now, I know that included in what was sold to Senator Parafit was a laptop.
And an iPad, I believe.
And an iPad. No, I don't think the same argument can be made as is made with respect to the furniture. The FS will tell you that a number of chief executive officers applied to be able to purchase their laptops. But he said that, in his view, people had their own personal, a la Hillary Clinton, their own personal emails and stuff on these devices unrelated to work, and he just thought that these were fairly small items. I will tell you that except for the Parafit lot, the furniture and the two devices, I was never approached to approve the sale of laptops to chief executive officers or to any other minister.
To sell off the national assets for, I don't have the figures, but you could imagine for remittance is not acceptable. And so we would have more, we'd want to hear why was it impossible to get some of these procedures in black and white in regulations.
I don't know what you...
Yeah, so Mike, yes, So our concern is why didn't we follow the regulations? The procedures were not followed through all the way. The practice, let's say the practice, because the procedure is difficult for fine.
Well, if there are no procedures, then you can say that successive governments ought to have done more to put procedures in place. But I must take issue with the way you frame your remarks, sir. You are suggesting that people who were retiring were gifted these vehicles. Nobody was gifted anything, sir. They were allowed to purchase at the proper value.
And so now you allow a man to carry home serviceable furniture. I imagine these furniture are not cheap. We don't know what's the amount. We'll get that figure from the FinSec. The iPads and the laptop, man, coronavirus has closed schools down. And so why couldn't we then give those equipment to the schools?
Mr. Martinez.
Right? Meanwhile, we wait for the promised equipment that were supposed to come for the schools. So
Mr. Martinez, I have told you, sir, that I had nothing to do with the sale of the laptops, except in the one instance of Perfeet where it was bundled up together with the... So listen, so you reserve, respectfully, you reserve those questions and those comments for the financial secretary. But in terms of furniture that had been specially adjusted for him, given his dimensions, again, sir, I have to repeat my term. It is churlish to say that there is something wrong or something malodorous about allowing the man to purchase what I was told, for the most part, was furniture that basically was purpose-built for him.
PM, that isn't justifiable.
Well, that's your view, sir.
I'll tell you why
and when you come to write your report, you can say that. As far as I'm concerned, it was entirely justifiable.
It's not justifiable for the public officers.
And after the former Prime Minister testified for 1 hour and 15 minutes, he was followed by the Financial Secretary, Joe Wade, who testified for 1 hour and 10 minutes. With that, the morning session was done, giving way to the day's final witness, the manager of the Vehicle Care Unit, Ruperto Vicente. He's the one on the ground who fed the information up to the FinSec and the PM. And it turned out that many of his declarations and findings to them in writing were just plain wrong or untrue. That's because he classified vehicles and furniture as unserviceable when they were in fact very serviceable. Here's how he fessed up to it.
Most of them, if not all of them, in fact, I do believe all of them, but you could correct me if I'm wrong, I sold on the basis that the items were unserviceable.
Yeah, and there's some errors in that, Mr. Chair. There are some errors because, and I must apologize for that. You know, I believe we use a generic letter.
Yeah.
And so, failure to peruse.
Are you aware that the Finance and Audit Reform Act authorizes sale, but only through use of one or the other of defined tender procedures?
Yes.
And
listening this morning, yes.
And are those tender procedures ever followed?
No.
The Prime Minister had mentioned, and I'm sure you listened, that Mr. Hugo Pat had made application to him for permission to buy his vehicle, by way of exception to a general policy that there would have been no such sales. You recollect that?
Yes, sir.
I noticed in the documentation that all the documents are addressed to Mr. Jovencio Herrera, and Mr. Hugo Pat's name, in fact, appears nowhere.
That is because there are times when requests are made. When someone is purchasing a vehicle or an air condition, they would request that the sales be made in someone else's name. That is for our case, a standard practice.
Who is Mr. Jovencio Herrera?
I have no idea, sir.
He wouldn't happen to have been the driver for Mr. Pat.
No, I have no idea who that person is.
I noticed in the letter approving the sale to Mr. Herrera that the vehicle is described as, well, there's another letter describing the vehicle as unserviceable, and in fact goes so far as to say that the vehicle is located with the unit and is considered beyond economical repairs. And this is a 2020 Toyota Tacoma.
No, that's an error. That's an error on that sales letter.
That's not true.
Yeah.
I noticed the same with the Hilux sold to Mr. Colin Griffith. It's also described as unserviceable. You could recall that one?
I recall that one, yes.
That was a seizure.
Yes. It's a vehicle that was not in the best of working condition.
But it wasn't unserviceable?
Not really. It could have been repaired. It could be repaired.
Yes. So that one, again, the documentation.
Yeah, we need to correct that.
It's an error.
I'll have my office correct those.
And I noticed as well all the furniture and the iPad and the laptop and the reinforced couches and chairs, the extra large ones for the former Attorney General.
Yes.
Those are also described as unserviceable.
Yes.
Was that an
Again,
error
we
as well?
follow, yeah, General, it's the same thing.
Same thing,
Yes,
an
sir.
error. And the same is true, I flashed through again one for the judge, is also described as unserviceable, 288 Toyota Land Cruiser.
We will correct that. We will correct those as well.
Yes, was serviceable. And the one for Dr. Barnett as well.
Is that marked unserviceable as well?
Yes, they all say unserviceable.
All right.
In terms of the one for Dr. Barnett, there would have only have been one bid for that car, and that's Dr. Barnett's bid. No bid to compare it against.
No.
The same with Judge Sosa's. The same with Michael Perifit's.
Yes. Furnitures
and computer equipment. He's the only one that bid for
Yes.
them. Colin Griffith.
Yes, sir.
And Hugo Pat.
Yes.
So there wasn't any competitive bidding at all for any of these.
No, sir.
No, sir. And these prices and sales were all approved by, you say, the Prime Minister.
Yes. The only one that will probably not mark approve will be the one for Hugo Pat.
But you see, the problem I have, Mr. Vicente, is that in these sampling of files I have here, and I've looked at that the Prime Minister has personally approved, they were all approved on the basis that these items were unserviceable, and none of them were unserviceable.
We agree, but if you've been following, or since you've been following the discussion, you know, we have said that there were discussion between the Prime Minister and the Financial Secretary, and so once that comes on to me, then
it's not that they didn't know, it's just that the documentation doesn't correctly reflect it.
Yes, sir.
Vicente testified for less than 40 minutes, and with that, the three-man commission has gotten the bulk of its initial evidence. It will review the testimony and a big box of documents from the Financial Secretary and reconvene publicly on February 26th. This afternoon, the leader of the opposition gave his review of the first day and basically said, where's the beef?
From what we saw this morning, there was in fact no fire sale of government assets, which brings to mind and we have to question what is the agenda of this administration. How much are they paying for this circus that has begun this morning? It is clear that there is nothing in terms of government assets being fire sailed, if using the term that you brought to me. It is clear that that is not the case.
Sir, the UDP chairman was given the privilege to purchase, I believe the word used, reinforced furniture, iPad and laptops. Can you comment on this?
Yes, well, that is what we're hearing. But I'll tell you that from very early after the elections, Chairman Perifit, Senator Perifit, brought to us in the party his documentation showing exactly that the financial secretary's office had approved him purchasing the couches and some reinforced chairs. You know that the chairman is a very a strong fellow, big fellow, you know, and so he had some custom-made furniture for his office at the time, and his ministry felt that there was no use leaving that behind. If he would go, he could purchase it. And as to the laptop and the iPad, as I'm told, well, you heard the Prime Minister say that he was not aware. Certainly, as a senior member of cabinet at the time, I was not aware, but there is nothing wrong with that. When you utilize computers, personal computers or iPads, you put your personal information on there sometimes, and for those computers to be used again, they would have to be wiped clean. You'd have to employ a whole lot of tactics to get them ready again for some other use. In fact, I don't think that that's a very wise or common practice in terms of personal laptops. Desktops are a different thing. So I don't know, but I'm not defending any of that. But even if that is the case, that is one minister. The way the PUPs talk, you would have thought that they could not find any vehicles for CEOs and ministers.
And while the UDP leader says the Commission of Inquiry is a big nothing, Minister of Home Affairs Kareem Musa said he was surprised about Senator Michael Perifid saying, on one hand, that the PUP inherited a healthy economy while leaving his office by purchasing the furniture from it.
I was not in the least bit surprised by what came out this morning, but at the same time, it just goes to show you how heartless and crass the last administration was. We were actually going through the most severe time in our country in terms of our economy. We're going through a pandemic, 132% of GDP, and they had time to facilitate special deals for themselves, for their ministers, for their CEOs, for comptrollers, all of these people getting very special sweetheart deals. And to me, it's a very heartless and absurd move on their part, and shows how out of touch they were. It clearly shows they knew they were about to lose an election. That is what it says to me. And then to see the former Attorney General, the former Minister of Police, say that he left behind a healthy economy for us, when he himself is directly contributing to the financial losses of this country by purchasing the equipment of this government. We're talking laptops and refurbished, or what they call it, reinforced chairs that were made specially for him. He's not the only big person in Belize, so why does he get that deal? Why is he the one that's going to get this special deal? So it's absolutely incredible that they have the nerve to then come on national TV and say they left us in a good economic position, when we all know that is a lie.
So charges left, right, and center for those who involved.
We will have to see the outcome of the Commission of Inquiry and the recommendations, but certainly, at the very least, they are heartless, they are absurd, and I would want to venture to say criminal.
And we take a break now. When we come back, we'll show you what nomination day looked like in Corozal, and we'll tell you about that body found buried in a shallow grave in a citrus orchard down south. Don't go away.
At Benquip, we offer a complete line of Honda products featuring the most trusted and reliable line of motorcycles in Belize. For outdoor and marine recreation, we have Polaris ATVs and UTVs, Volvo Pentamarine Solutions, Honda Outboards, and Best Sport Kayaks. When it's time to service your vehicle or equipment, you can find the brands you trust at Benquip. We carry a large inventory of Castrol oils, NGK spark plugs, and a full range of cleaning products from Magic. Get power when you need it with trade winds and Honda generators. For those businesses looking for increased productivity and a safe working environment, our proven and respected line of TCM forklifts will not let you down. We also have trimmers and lawnmowers from Honda and Husqvarna, so you can keep your yard and surroundings properly maintained. So visit Benquip today at 3 miles on the Philip Golson Highway to get the equipment, parts, and service you need.
Electricity,
We use it to power our appliances, charge our devices, and light our home. Let's all practice energy conservation at home and in the workplace. That's unplug chargers when not in use, lights off when not in the room, turn off fans and TVs. You can also look for Energy Star products and change lights to LEDs, which reduce energy cost. Let's all save energy.
You've worked hard your whole life building your future, your family, your business, your home. And when you aren't around to safeguard your most beloved assets, you are at ease because you know they are protected by RF&G Insurance. For over 50 years, RF&G has been making sure business owners get back to work after an accident, and families get back into their homes quickly after a natural disaster. At RF&G, it's you who matters most. Visit us today and learn why it pays to get it right. RF&G Insurance, a Rowe Group company.
Contraband is the illegal importation of goods such as alcohol, tobacco, foods, and parts. Apart from breaking the law, smugglers are also now endangering the health of all Belizeans. They risk bringing coronavirus into Belize with their contraband. To keep COVID-19 out of Belize, everyone entering the country is screened and quarantined. But contraband smugglers are not using legal entry points and are bypassing all safety measures. And these same smugglers are moving among the population. They could be carrying the virus. By coming into the country illegally, they could cause outbreaks of COVID-19. Buying or smuggling contraband is putting yourself, your family, and the entire country at risk. Report smuggling. For SMART, call 0800-JUMPERS or 0800-BORDERS. For Digi, 0800-SAVE-BZE. This message is brought to you by the Belize Police Department and the Belize Bank.
El contrabando es importar ilegalmente productos como el alcohol, tabaco, comida y objetos. Aparte de romper la ley, los contrabandistas están poniendo ahora en riesgo la salud de los beliceños. Ellos arriesgan traer coronavirus a Belice por medio de sus contrabandos. Para mantener el COVID-19 fuera de Belice, todos los que entren al país son examinados y encuarentenados. Sin embargo, los contrabandistas no utilizan los puntos de entrada legal y se saltan todas las medidas de seguridad. Estos mismos traficantes se están moviendo entre la población. Ellos podrían tener el virus. Al entrar ilícitamente al país, esto puede provocar un brote de COVID-19. Comprar o traficar contrabando te pone a ti, a tu familia y a todo tu país en riesgo. Para números de SMART, llama al 0800-586-7377, 0800-267-3377 y para Digi 0800-728-3293 para reportar cualquier actividad de contrabando. Este mensaje es presentado por el Departamento de Policía de Belice y el Banco de Belice.
We do these things without thinking, to keep our possessions safe. And yet, we think twice about doing this. Even though calling Crime Stoppers is an anonymous way to make our homes, schools, and communities safer, which helps to protect the people we care about. Call Crime Stoppers to anonymously report criminal activity in your area. By working together, we can make our Belize a safer place. This message is brought to you by Crime Stoppers Belize and this station.
At the top of the news, we showed you what our news team saw in Belize City with today's nominations. But we also had another team in Corozal Town for nominations there. This is one of the municipalities that's currently controlled by a PUP council, which is seeking re-election on March 3rd. Before Mayor Rigo Valles won in 2018, this municipality had gone red for 4 consecutive terms under the former Mayor Gilberto Campos. So, will the PUP hold on to power in Corozal, or will it revert to a UDP council? Daniel Ortiz was there for the nominations, and here's his story.
This morning, Mayor Rigoberto Valles and his team of 6 councillor candidates went into the nomination station to formally enter the elections for the Corozal Town Council. Even though he and his council are the incumbents, he told us that the ceremony of nomination day still brings a rush of emotions.
I've done it before, but you know, every time a day like today comes, it brings out other feelings that we don't usually get on a normal day, you know. But we've been preparing ourselves for a day like today. As you can see, our supporters are here, our campaigners are here. Just a small little fraction of the supporters that we have as a party and as a town council. And I am sure that we are confident that on the 3rd of March we will be victorious together with myself, Vega Samos also.
His direct opponent for the office of mayor is the UDP candidate Roger Arana, who has experience in municipal administration from a different perspective. He worked as a public officer in the Corozal Town Council for 2 terms under the former mayor, Gilberto Campos.
I started actually from the very scratch.
Okay.
I was the tax collector, and then from there I also work on different departments, the valuation department, the building inspection department, and finally I got to be the revenue manager at the Corozal Town Council. And so have 3 of the other councillor candidates have experience as well working at the Corozal Town Council. So we're definitely going to use all this experience. We know the basic functions of the town council, and that will definitely serve us well. No? We are a young team, but with experience. We bring a lot of energy and new ideas. We definitely want to give politics a new face. I really deliberated a lot before I took the decision, but and this is mainly because a lot of people don't like to take the challenge, no? So we as Belizeans usually put the people that are not qualified, and worst of all, that are not committed. So I can say for myself that I am definitely committed to bring that change for Corozal.
The PUP slate is asking the voters of Corozal to return Mayor Valles and his team to office for a second time. One of their sales pitch to residents is that a win for the PUP means harmony between them and the central government.
The people are accepting us in their homes, talking to us, sharing their views, sharing what their visions also. Our beautiful Corozalinos know that we were working close to 3 years under a UDP government who was not sharing any support to the Corozal Town Council. And they understand that. No, they also understand the political alignment that we can have between a central government and a PUP Town Council, which plays a big role when it comes to support. And support is all we were asking for from the past administration. And we didn't get it not one day. But now we have it on hand. We have a PUP central government, and the people are very aware of that.
His UDP opponent confirms that the voters are thinking critically about the benefits of such an alignment.
Well, definitely that has been one of the questions that the people has brought forth. in doing our house-to-house campaign. I can say I have worked at the town council. I know that the revenues collected from the property tax, the trade license, liquor license, and even the government subvention, that they are enough to carry out our basic functions. And we definitely are here to try to put a constant system of maintenance. We know our basic functions and we definitely will carry it out. However, one of the things I want to mention, and I know that this present government has already cut down in a lot of things, and I am afraid that the day of tomorrow, if all the municipalities come red, then they will want to remove the subvention, but I'm sure that we will definitely I am sure that we'll definitely have more than enough to carry out our basic functions. Moreover, one of the things is I have worked with different organizations, government, semi-government, and non-governmental private organizations, and I have had the experience to write proposals and to get the grants that are available out there. So definitely that is one of the venues that we'll be seeking when we come into Town Council.
Of course, the voters of Corozal Town will decide whether or not that happens. Reporting for 7 News, Daniel Ortiz.
As you heard in the story, the PUP slate consists of Mayor Rigoberto Veas, Rodolfo Narvaez, Gilberto Clark, Otoniel Riverol, Miguel Montalvo, Marlene Tapia, and Baldemar Pech Jr. Roger Arana is running for mayor, and he is joined by the councillor candidates Mary Selby Lupe Barahona, Cristobal Chris Bab, Julianne Marie Castro, Navin De Hindu Gadwani, Vanessa Van Vasquez, and Jaime Mohamed Bautista. Nomination day in Corozal was particularly busy for the elections and boundary staff, and that's because they had to process applications for the municipal candidates as well as the 2 candidates in a by-election for the Corozal Bay Area Representative, which will happen on the same day as municipal elections. As we've reported, the PUP area representative, David Dido Vega, passed away from COVID, and so the seat is currently vacant. His sister, Elvia Vega Samos, has stepped up to represent the PUP in his place. This morning, we spoke with her after she was nominated.
Unfortunately, we lost my brother in December due to COVID, and he had so many plans for the people of Corozal Bay. It was very shocking for the family. We did not expect that. And I decided to step up to the plate to take over the mantle because I believe that the people of Corozal deserve better. You know, after 12 years of abandonment, I said, Elvi, it's now or never. You need to step up and take over and do what Dido has started.
Is this perhaps your first time as a candidate per se?
Well, I believe, first of all, I thank the Prime Minister for having that confidence in me. I have been working in the caring profession as a school counselor / teacher for the past 20 years. I have seen the needs that the people have. I have campaigned with my brother on a one-to-one with the people, and there is so much that can be done for our Corozaleños. I truly believe that this wealth of experience that I bring, that I can bring about change for our Corozaleños.
We're picking up signals that suggest that maybe you are too comfortable with the home crowd of Corozal Bay voters who would be willing to support you or predisposed to support you.
I don't take the people for granted. I have been going from I have been visiting every home. I have not reached all the homes. I'm still working on that. And I plan to visit every home and be able to talk to the people one-to-one. That's one thing that I have said from the beginning of my campaign. I do not take the people for granted. I know they are very intelligent, and that is why I am trying my best to reach each and every person. And I'm not saying, oh, this is a PUP or this is a UDP. I am here for the people.
This afternoon, it was the UDP's turn to nominate their candidate, and that's when their new standard bearer, Gilberto Campos, took his turn at the nomination station. Here's our conversation with him about a half hour before he went in.
What's on your mind at this time?
Well, what is in mind is that it's just a normal process. We're going to get properly nominated and make it official. I think that the people of Corozal Bay already know, so it's no news to them. We had to do a lot of convincing to the people not to come out in huge numbers because it's for the COVID-19 protocol measures that we're taking. And it's just a regular process for me.
Sir, what has been the message you've tried to bring to the people of Corozal Bay, given that only a few months ago they voted for a PUP candidate?
Yes, Gilberto Campos has a history with the Corozal Bay voters. I had served at the Corozal Town Council as the mayor of this town for 4 consecutive terms, so we do have a relationship. And most importantly, it would be to have their voice being heard in Belmopan, in the National Assembly, to represent them properly, especially at these times that like how you mentioned, recently we just getting over an election that has proven that there was no honeymoon involved. It went straight into conflicts. I was elected 2006 for the first time, and I continuously got elected election after election. In 2018, I decided to give someone else a chance. It doesn't matter which political party. I tell you that I have a relationship with the Corozal Bay voters, a serious relationship, one in which I don't have a doubt that they're going to send me to Belmopan to properly represent them. Corozal Bay will be having a strong voice in Belmopan come March 3rd. Most importantly, 2015 when I won my last election, it was against the same person that passed away, Mr. Vega. So it doesn't matter to me who it is that is running, as long as I am given the opportunity by the people of Corozal Bay.
And while Campos thinks that his record 4 consecutive terms as mayor of Corozal Town qualify him to represent the people of Corozal Bay in the House of Representatives, his PUP opponents think otherwise. This morning, we asked the PUP standard bearer and the PUP mayor who succeed him in Corozal Town about his qualifications. They made it clear that, in their opinion, he did not properly manage the resources of the people of Corozal Town. Here's that comment.
While you come highly recommended, your opponent is no pushover either. He has won 4 municipal elections. What are your thoughts? What are your estimations of the person you're running against?
Well, honestly, I beg to differ there. Yes, he has been for consecutive years. However, it is imperative to note that he left the town council in a total disarray. So many bills pending, things went missing. I even want to say to the point where I can't understand how he has the audacity to say that he wants to represent the people of the Bay.
Me who took over, what he left knows about it, because he was the reason why Corozal was in a big mess in every way. And we're talking literally on the situation on the street, infrastructure, the bloated contracts, the huge reimbursements he got for assets that we couldn't find in the town council. So he has absolutely no chances in beating Ms. Vega Samos, and I am sure that the people are confident of that.
But we have to take note of the fact that he has won 4 elections, though, back to back.
I agree, he has won 4 elections, but we the Corozalinos, we are blindfolded by them. We no longer have that fold over our eyes. Trust me, we no longer. The Corozalinos have waken up, and the first message they got was on November, when they elected nearly a full house of representatives that belong to the PUP.
One of their main complaints against Gilberto Campos is that he signed a contract with Emir Hernandez's company for the construction of roads in Corozal Town. The problem is that the repayment of the debt must continue on the future councils, and so we asked him squarely, did he saddle the municipality when he was mayor? Here's that back and forth.
And that's one of the things they point to as an example of which you misused your office as mayor, because you saddled the council with a debt that they have to carry on for the next 10 years.
Yes, but what they didn't mention, or what they're trying to mislead the people of Corozal, is one very important thing. The hallmark of my administration was based on consultation with the people of this town. The vast majority of people were aware of what were our intentions when we sought that contract. Now, I want to mention that for almost 2 years, my administration serviced that contract, payments made to Emir Hernandez. Comfortably, that was designed in a way so that the council's resources would be more than enough to finance the payments and to continue producing for Corozal and being progressive. That they couldn't do, but that is not because of the contract, that is because of mismanagement and misuse of resources. So they're trying to mislead the voters, but man, the Corozal Town Council under my administration was based on consultation with the people of this town. So whatever they're trying to disguise and saying that I saddled the administration with a debt, that is not true. Yes, we had a contract, they had a number of streets, but the payments were made in a way so that the Corozal Town Council could afford the payments and continue giving the essential basic services of this country. Under my administration, the Corozal Town Council became the most autonomous possible.
They're suggesting that when they entered office after your term ended, that certain assets for the municipality was missing. I think it was a backhoe, a generator, vehicles. What's your defense?
I would strongly suggest, and I hope that they're listening to this interview, I would strongly suggest for them to take legal action and go to the police and have me arrested if that is the case. Because that is all false and mischievous propaganda. I would tell you one thing that is a fact. The past administrator, when they took over office, they accused her of being involved in fraud and working and in misappropriation of funds along with me. And she took them to court. And they lost, and they're paying off the past administrator, a UDP supporter. They're paying her off to keep off the courts, and they settled out of courts. Why don't they do the same thing with me and stop the mislead the people of this town who already know what I did or what I didn't do for them? That will be left up to the voters, not up to lies and false propaganda generated against myself.
We've seen a financial report from 2018 in which Mayor Rigo Velez and his council asserted that there were council-owned assets that allegedly went missing on the campus's administration. And moving from politics to crime, a body was found this morning around 9 inside a shallow grave on a farm on the Hummingbird Highway. While details are scarce, the commissioner briefed the media on the preliminary information. He refrained from revealing the name of the victim, but he was reported missing since February 3rd.
Yes, I know this morning, sometime around 9 a.m. thereabout, a group of hunters came across a shallow grave somewhere around mile 44 and 43 on the Hummingbird Highway. Police visited the area, they dug the shallow grave, and they came across a body of a male Hispanic person. The body has been identified, but I am not sure if the next of kin has been informed, so I'm not going to reveal the name at this time. But police are in direct communication with the family members and are investigating that matter.
This person had been reported missing or something like that?
Yes, the person was reported missing before. Yes.
Any idea of how he died? Any visible wounds?
At this time, no. The doctor should be visiting the site because the body is in an advanced state of decomposition, and so the post-mortem will be performed on site. So as soon as that is done, then we'll reveal those information to the media.
Reports tell us the victim is a Belize District resident who was last seen near mile 31 on the Philip Gosen Highway just over a week ago, and distance from where his body was found between miles 51 and 52 on the Hummingbird Highway. His body bore tattoos but no visible injuries. But that wasn't the only body police found this morning. Initial reports said a dismembered body was found in the Mopan River. But the compost said that it was actually the macaw. The body was missing its head, legs, and an arm. Again, the Kampala only had the preliminary details, but the murder is not believed to have occurred in Belize.
Yes, I know this morning, sometime around 9 a.m. thereabout, a group of hunters came across a shallow grave somewhere around mile 44 and 43 on the Hummingbird Highway. Police visited the area, they dug the shallow grave, and they came across a body of a male Hispanic person. The body has been identified, but I am not sure if the next of kin has been informed, so I'm not going to reveal the name at this time. But police are in direct communication with the family members and are investigating that matter.
This person had been reported missing or something like that?
Yes, the person was reported missing before. Yes.
Any idea of how he died? Any visible wounds?
At this time, no. The doctor should be visiting the site because the body is in an advanced state of decomposition, and so the post-mortem will be performed on site. So as soon as that is done, then we'll reveal those information to the media.
The body was identified as 54-year-old Carlos Peck by a social security card and a driver's license found in the victim's pocket. The Compal also gave us a brief update on another murder that occurred last week in Belize City. 43-year-old Jose Santos, a resident of Armenia, was shot inside his delivery truck in front of Tau Tau on Mahogany Street. It's a mystifying murder because there does not appear to have been any robbery element. The police are now on the hunt for the murder suspects.
The police are looking at 2 persons of interest, and we're hoping that we'll be able to narrow down on those persons. And hopefully if we get sufficient information or evidence, then we'll be able to charge someone in respect to that murder.
Sir, but was there any motive? This was a man, a well-respected man in his community in Armenia, who was just staying at 8 Miles for work. He had no family here, no connections in Belize City or anything like that.
But if someone just walk up to a person and shoot you and just move off, what does that tell you?
Santos had been working at Jackie's Bakery in the 8 Miles community, where he also resided, to avoid commuting from Cayo to the Belize district. And while Santos was shot in the heart of the city, one Orange Walk salesman, Michael Escalante, was shot in his own car before being thrown out and left for dead on the George Price Highway. Escalante drove a red Wingle, and in the wake of his murder on Thursday, it had all but disappeared. But ACP Myvit today confirmed what we first reported on Friday, that the Wingle was found the very next day located by a flyover operation.
We continue to follow several leads in relation to that, and on Friday last, sometime shortly before midday, his vehicle, which is a red Wingle, was located about 5 to 10 minutes walk southwest of Mahogany Heights, within a wooded area. The 2 front windows were apparently shattered by bullet holes. However, the vehicle itself remained intact in terms of its components, meaning the machine, the wheels, and so forth. The vehicle was intact aside from the windows being shattered. We are still trying to determine a motive, because we knew for a fact that monies were found on him by the police, and we have no information to suggest that he was carrying any large quantity of monies at the time of the incident.
So how does this investigation proceed now? Because the robbers/murderers abandoned this vehicle. How is it that the police will go about linking them to the vehicle?
Several prints were recovered from inside the vehicle, and we are following other leads which had indicated to us that the vehicle, along with a gray in color Ford Escape, was seen on the George Price Highway within close vicinity of each other sometime shortly before the incident. So we are also following on that lead. And at this point in time, we are looking for 4 persons for questioning whom we believe can assist in this investigation.
A motive for Escalante's murder is yet to be ascertained, as apart from the carjacking, police have found no evidence that the salesman was robbed. And while Escalante's roadside death shocked the nation, another, more conventional highway demise led to widespread empathy and sorrow. 25-year-old Aretha Vanzi was the only passenger of a crashed vehicle to die from the injuries she sustained when the Chevy Impala careened off the Hummingbird Highway and crashed into a cement culvert. Today, the driver of that vehicle, 21-year-old Damien Usher, has been served with a notice of intended prosecution pending the post-mortem that was today conducted on the young woman's body. We heard more about this investigation from ACP Myvet.
In relation to that issue, the post-mortem is scheduled for later today. All those other persons involved in the traffic accident have since been released from hospital. The driver has since been served with a notice of intended prosecution pending the post-mortem results, and thereafter it is expected that charges will be levied against him. From what we are gathering, it is believed to have been speeding, but we are still investigating that angle of the incident. We know that the normal procedure was followed where samples were taken from the driver upon him reaching the hospital.
Usher and his other passengers, 22-year-old Zane Zuniga and 24-year-old Dion Castillo, have all since been discharged from the hospital. And rounding out the remnants of last week's news, we remind you of this footage of an inebriated city river cop, now known to be a detective. Reports are that this uniformed officer fired a weapon while on duty. It's a scenario that we questioned ACP Myvet about at this morning's press brief, but he says that the incident happened over a month ago. He also told us that the officers involved have been dealt with.
This is an incident that apparently had occurred sometime about a month ago, and I know for certain that the matter was being investigated by the Professional Standards Branch. I do not know the outcome at this time of that investigation, but I know that both officers were dealt with, the one stationed in that area as well as the person in question that you are referring to.
What type of officer is he, sir? Because we had reports that he was on duty at the time that he fired this weapon, but in the video he appears to be in jeans. Was he undercover in any way?
He works at a detective branch. So then he is not a uniformed police officer. He does work at a detective branch.
And we take a break from all that crime news now. When we come back, we'll take you out west for Nomination Day activities in San Ignacio and Belmopan. And Compo Chester gets physical with weights, sponsored by Michael Ashcroft. Don't go away.
At Benquip, we offer a complete line of Honda products featuring the most trusted and reliable line of motorcycles in Belize. For outdoor and marine recreation, we have Polaris ATVs and UTVs, Volvo Pentamarine Solutions, Honda Outboards, and Best Sport Kayaks. When it's time to service your vehicle or equipment, you can find the brands you trust at Benquip. We carry a large inventory of Castrol oils, NGK spark plugs, and a full range of cleaning products from Magic. Get power when you need it with trade winds and Honda generators. For those businesses looking for increased productivity and a safe working environment, our proven and respective line of TCM forklifts will not let you down. We also have trimmers and lawnmowers from Honda and Husqvarna, so you can keep your yard and surroundings properly maintained. So visit Benquip today at 3 miles on the Philip Golson Highway to get the equipment, parts, and service you need.
If you have been directly exposed to the new coronavirus or have a history of travel in infected populated areas, it is recommended that you self-isolate. Identify a room to be used to self-isolate and limit contact with healthy persons. Keep away from older persons and persons who have medical conditions that affects their immune system. Monitor for any cold or flu-like symptom for up to 21 days and wash hands frequently with soap and water. If you become seriously ill, call your healthcare provider or 0800-664-2273 for guidance. A health and wellness message from your Ministry of Health.
In partnership with the British High Commission.
Been drinking all night. Feeling so high. Better not drive. Won't even try.
Been drinking all night. Feeling so high. Better not drive. Ain't gonna try. Been drinking all night. Feeling so high. Better not drive. Ain't gonna try. If you're drinking and driving, I'm not going with ya. If you're drinking and driving, I'm not going with ya. People die every day, I'm not going with ya. I'ma find my own way, I'm not going with ya. It's okay, I'll wait. Even good people make mistakes. I don't wanna realize when it's too late. Drinking and driving is never safe. If you're drinking and driving, I'm not going with ya. If you're drinking and driving, I'm not going with ya. Been drinking all night, feeling so high. Better not drive, ain't gonna try. Been drinking all night, feeling so high. Better not drive, ain't gonna try.
So far tonight, we've shown you nomination day activities in the city and the north, but candidates in the west were in fine form this morning as they accepted their nominations and officially got their names on the ballot in their city or town. Our news team started out in Belmopan, where come what may, the city is about to have its first female mayor. And when we spoke to the PUP candidate Sharon Palacios, she told us that all her campaigning has shown her that the people are supportive of the idea of a woman in charge. She also spoke on the importance of Nomination Day.
Nomination Day is very important. That validates us. We're now officially on the ballot, and we now must continue the journey and ensure that we do our homework, meeting these voters as much as possible to ensure victory on March 3rd, a historic date. We're living in a patriarchal society. Most women are scared to even enter politics. I must say that I have family support, and Mrs. Glennis Williams, she became the deputy campaign manager. We went to the convention. She and Cedric Borland, they worked tirelessly along with our campaigners, and I was scared to go to the convention, I must say, because I've seen convention, I see how it goes. But this is the time whereby I think people are supportive of a woman to lead. On the campaign trail, I can see that people are crying out for land. It is very sad to hear from these young people, some of them even in tears, that they're not given that opportunity. The last time land was issued to the residents of Belmopan was under Mayor Chanona's leadership, and I was right there. And I was very sad to see what's happening, that people are crying out for land, they're crying out for jobs. And I believe, especially since the Prime Minister made me a board member on the Reconstruction Development Corporation board, and we've already started a process of identifying 50 acres of land, and immediately after occupying office, we will embark on a housing project, because under the People's United Party, that's what we do. And the slogan that we have in place is change from the heart.
Palacios was nominated by a family friend and her firstborn son. She's a former senior staffer at the University of Belize and a psychologist who resided in Cuba for over 6 years. Palacios' opponent, Jacqueline Burns, says she stepped up to the mayoral plate after her friend and colleague Richie Galvez backed out due to COVID complications. But she's in the race now, ready and willing to serve, and hoping to extend the UDP's 15-year run controlling Belmopan City Council. Here's what she told us about how COVID has changed the campaign trail.
There's a reason why 5 terms the UDP has been elected in Belmopan. We want to continue the good work. We want to build on the good work that has been laid by past mayors under the UDP umbrella. And we're certainly going to put our best efforts towards winning that. We are a team. It's not only about me or my show, it's about Team Jackie, which is comprised of 7 people and a very supportive team, a very hardworking team. So I'm glad to have these people running under the UDP umbrella along with me. We're pretty optimistic. We've been putting in the work. We've been house to house on the campaign trail. We've covered just about almost all of central Belmopan, and we have, yes, some areas in the periphery that we still have to walk, but we're jamming every day and we go up until curfew time in some instances, yes.
And how has campaigning been in these COVID times with social distancing being in effect on all these things?
Well, the challenge has been great, but COVID has its benefits as well. One of the things that is different this time around is, keeping the social distance, and so, being invited into homes isn't a thing right now. It allows us to move from one spot to the next in a quicker fashion. The COVID measures allows us to just speak from maybe the street side or the gate, the veranda and stuff like that. So it's a little different. The team walks around with, the sanitizers, the mask and so on, so that we're protected on the road, and it's been wonderful so far.
Burns is an educator and 2-time city councillor. And further west, we met up with Ramon Munchi Quiros, the PUP candidate for San Ignacio Santa Elena, who refused the break campaign momentum for nomination day. We asked him about how he plans to take over a UDP stronghold that's been held for 18 years. But he says that those circumstances have already changed and that a PUP local government is the best complement of a PUP central government.
November the 11th, the people of Cayo Central, Cayo Northeast and Cayo Central sent a resounding message. We're the government today. We're running on a platform, consultation. Many of our residents feel that 18 years of abandonment is too long. With the support of our area representatives, Mr. Balona is working with us today. But I can say the 3 area reps are giving us their utmost support, and the team is well geared up. We have our team is combined of mature people, professionals, young youth. So we have a diverse team, and we have brought the concerns of the people. We are listening. We're walking with them, listening, and we're making sure that they're not neglected anymore. I'm no stranger to the public light. I have contested mayoral races in the past, but circumstances then we were in the opposition, and today Santa Elena has the support that it needs to move to another level. For us, we need to make sure that we become back the servants to the people. Leaders are not there just to sit on high places. Leaders are to come and listen to the concerns of the people, be with the people, be one with the people, and that's what we are doing. For the undecided voters, I can say this: local government and central government should be one. Today, we are already central government. So on the March 3rd election, let's unite these two bodies and let's make things a reality for the residents of San Ignacio and Santa Elena.
But while Munchi made the case for securing government support, 2-term Twin Town Mayor Earl Trapp says that Munchi's central and local unity is a bit of a misconception and that a municipality must be able to stand on its own. Here's what he told us about how he felt on his 3rd nomination day.
The arguments we've heard on the ground is we have a central government that's PUP. Make local government PUP as well so that they can work together. How do you refute that?
That is just a perception, because I can tell you that in the state that this government is in, as per the Prime Minister have said, there's no money. I can tell you that this government does not have anything in terms of subsidy to give to any municipalities. And I can tell you, for the 6 years that I've been in office as mayor, my council have never received any substantial assistance in terms of finances from the then central government. So I can tell you that government, central government, is not here to pamper any municipality. Municipalities are here as an independent body basically to stand alone and basically develop its community. I feel very much, at this time I am feeling, yeah, I'm not sure how, but very much I'm feeling happy in a sense that I'm here ready to be nominated, to become eligible to run again for mayor, to win once more. And I feel very much elated because of the fact that of the very good response, the overwhelming response that we've been receiving from the general public. You know, and as I mentioned to other media houses, the people are mentioning to us that they are proud of us. They are proud of the many developments that we have brought to this community in only 3 years. And if you want to go further, well, 6 years. But it's been 6 years of hard work and dedication for this community. And today, they stand proud and ready to come out and give us that support once more. I believe in teaching a man to fish rather than giving a fish, you know. And what we have done is that we have been able to prudently manage our finances. We have been able to get some formats that guides us as to how we are supposed to run our municipality in terms of balancing the equation, infrastructural-wise, social-wise, and touching the people personally.
And from the western stronghold of the UDP to the PUP's northern stronghold in Orange Walk, as in other parts of the country, the PUP went for their nomination in the morning. They're trying to hold on to power for a fourth term, but this time around, a new mayoral candidate has emerged. He's Ladrick Madbull Shepherd, and he's a sitting PUP councillor. He wants to succeed Mayor Kevin Bernard, who has been elected to the House of Representatives as the Orange Walk East representative. After the nominations, Shepherd told our colleagues from CTV3 News that, like the Corozal Town Council, a political alignment between local and central government would be beneficial for Sugar City.
Now, when it comes to the nomination, I've been in 3 different elections when it comes to running for councillor, and now I'm running for the mayorship. You know that this one is different. Usually we have speakers with music. Usually we have the drummers, CDC giving us a parade all the way to where the spot will be. Usually we have the fans and the people that we can wave at. This one is totally different, I understand, due to the pandemic, but it is all good, and I'm applauded, and I spoke to my candidates and tell them that enjoy the moment that we are having right now. This does not happen often, and they are doing it. So it has been different, but I can say we enjoyed it today. I can assure that we have basically reached most of the houses already, and I can assure that my team is doing their best to capture most of the people that we need, to ask them for the support, and we need to do more. The campaign has never finished for most of us, and that is what we are doing. So that is the thing that's going to capture the moment when the people give us that vote of confidence on election day, March 3rd. I can attest that most of the people are giving that vote of confidence, and they are satisfied with what this town council has been doing for so far under Honourable Kevin Bernard. Now, which was first Mayor Kevin Bernard, now is Honourable Kevin Bernard, and they guarantee that under a PUP central government and a Prime Minister that lives in Orange Walk, we can get more done. So it is not a very difficult campaign that we are using to garner the respect from the people, but they can see, and also it is the trust and the hard work that I have put in as a mayoral candidate, and they believe that I have chosen the right members to join my team.
Council is being challenged for the local government seats by a UDP slate led by Orlando Chicle Castillo, a newcomer who wants to be mayor. He told our CTV colleagues that the municipality deserves young, vibrant leaders, and here are those comments.
My team and I are confident that we are here for the people, and the people, from what we have gathered The people want us to be here to serve them and to serve only them and no one else. So we feel very good and very confident that the people who will vote us in on March 3rd, 2021.
There are only approximately 2 weeks remaining until elections. Just talk to us your plans for these remaining days, as in the campaign trail.
The campaigning trail, we'll go house to house. It doesn't matter if you have up a red flag, a blue flag, a green flag. We will visit you because it is your right to know who is running. And I decided to embark on this because, on my team, because we want to empower the young people as well. I believe it is time for the young people to take control of this nation, and it's their obligation as citizens to step up and fight for a better future for Orange Walk. So young people, don't stray away from becoming leaders, because you are our future leaders, and don't let anyone take that away from you. But I believe, like I said, we need young, new, vibrant leaders to take control of this town and to lead the town for the people, and always for the people, and not to serve anyone else but the people. So we are here for the people, and we see that we need a change in this town. It's been 9 years that we have had the same town council, and they have not even handed in one financial statement, so I can see as a taxpayer how my tax are being spent.
And turning back now to the Belize City Council and its incumbent PUP Council, they're the ones under scrutiny now. And a quick scan of the council's website would reveal that the current administration has yet to publish its financial records for the fiscal year 2019 to 2020. We're now in 2021, and this close to municipal elections, one would question if there is a lack of transparency in the council. We asked Mayor Bernard Wagner, and he said that COVID caused a delay in the audits.
Our audit, as you know, we completed our audit for the fiscal year 2018. We're still in the process of completing the other audits. Again, the pandemic came, so those are lagging behind, but we'll get to those, and as soon as we get it, it will be on our website. That's a commitment that we made, and it's a commitment that we also met there, that the former mayor had indicated to the press that he would have put out minutes of meeting. He did not do it. We are doing it.
We note that the council has also not published the minutes of their meetings since 2018, before they were elected into office. In another council controversy a week ago, we told you that the Human Resources Department for the Belize City Council issued an internal memo offering them a promotion of 14% rates in JBW Finance Company Limited. But there sure seems to be a conflict of interest since Mayor Wagner owns that microcredit company. Today we asked him about it, but he claims he has no say in the management of the establishment.
I don't manage that organization, and so I will not comment further on that. That organization has a manager, and the relationship that the manager has is not anything on the mayor. There are two different entities.
Sir, but if you own it, it's a conflict of interest, you'd agree?
I did not send any kind of correspondence.
Do you own it?
I own the business, of course I own it.
Right, so it's a conflict of interest, sir. You're the mayor. How would your office turn it down?
How can it be a conflict of interest?
How would the council turn it down, sir? It's the mayor's business.
It's a relationship with the manager of that business and the council.
The City Council website lists the mayor as the owner of JBW Finance. And while politics is in rich ferment right now, the Belize Police was today enriched by the opening of a fully outfitted new gym. The state-of-the-art fitness facility is at the Queen Street Police Station and serves as an incentive for officers to shed a few pounds. The Compol and the minister were present at the opening ceremony and both spoke about the importance of having physically fit officers.
What we have here today is a very timely donation from the Lord Ashcroft COVID Relief Fund. As you know, the fund had given to food grocery packages and that sort of thing, but to have it contributed towards the gym for the police department. We are extremely grateful for the contribution. Like you're rightly pointing out, this is a time for us to be very health conscious and aware of our health status, and so it's very important that we keep in shape, especially in times of COVID. So I'm sure that the officers will make very good use of the new facility, and I certainly, if I have some time, will make use myself.
It's important for the officers to be fit. Since there is no excuse, there's the facilities available, will there now be some sort of requirement for officers to be below a certain weight?
Let me say that there is nothing in the police regulation as opposed to the BDF, which is a military organization, that members must maintain a certain level of physical standard. But we do expect that our officers must, to some extent, ensure that they maintain a certain body structure and a certain degree of fitness. You know that the police duties entails a lot of moving around. It entails the pursuit of criminals, and we cannot pursue criminals and stop them with bullets at all time. We must from time to time see how we can use our own physical self to be able to catch up with criminals, and so we are hoping that with this gym it will put us in a much better position to be able to do so. In the past, we expect officers to be fit, but we're not providing the equipment for them to be fit. But here we are today inaugurating this gym, so we are now providing the avenue for officers to remain in good physical condition. And so I'm sure that police officers will make good use of it because they have been asking for quite some time now. We do have a number of gyms across the city, but you know these gyms do come with a hefty fee for which police cannot afford. So with this now, we believe that they'll be in a position to be able to afford to come to the gym and get themselves in good physical condition.
The Compol reached out to the Lord Ashcroft COVID Relief Fund for assistance in financing the gym, but when Inspector Jane Usher related to him that the cost would be approximately $132,000, the Compol said he was afraid they had asked for too much. But Lord Ashcroft came through for them. He was at the ceremony and said that he was more than happy to help the police department due to his own interest in law and order. Still, some would be wary of taking money from Ashcroft, as he is considered by many as persona non grata. But Minister Karim Musa is confident that in this case there are no strings attached.
I don't consider this gesture on the part of Mr. Ashcroft to be one in which he expects a return. This is a donation towards the health care and the wellness of the police officers. And so while I do understand where you're coming from, at the same time we have to express our gratitude, at least in this instance. You know, the past administration ended up in long legal battles with Mr. Ashcroft, and I have on various occasions condemned those legal battles because at the end of the day they would have had to pay him, and we now know that to be a fact, that they paid him quadruple what it was that he was owed for BTL and for other cases. And so I think it was really a government that was on a frolic of their own, and I, again, I'm on record saying that it only benefited two people, Lord Michael Ashcroft and the Barrow family, because they got the legal fees, and in the end the Belizean people suffered. So this is one instance I would want to detach it, but at the same time I understand where you're coming from.
My interest in law and order goes back to 1988, where in the United Kingdom I formed and became chairman of the United Kingdom Crime Stoppers Organization. So when Compol first approached me to be able to help, and the first one was on masks and PPE and gloves for the police force, I was absolutely delighted to be able to do it, because as we all know, you can't rely on the politicians to help when it's necessary. You jotting that down, Minister?
I am.
And of course, with the gym, and to keep one or two of you a little fit as I look around, I'm absolutely pleased. So it's my pleasure to be able to do this.
Police officers will be required to pay a $20 membership fee for the upkeep of the gym. But the new gym is not the only thing the police have to be excited about. Those who are forced to live in dilapidated police barracks will soon see an upgrade to the facilities. But not just the police. Minister Musa explained that the Coast Guard and the BDF will also benefit and can also look forward to new equipment. He explains how this is possible.
Well, I am pleased to announce that in the coming weeks and months, Dwayne, the police department, as well as the Belize Defense Force and the Coast Guard, will be making use of a CABE loan that was signed on to from 2018, I believe, Commissioner, which includes a large upgrade of these facilities, infrastructural works, as well as equipment for police officers. It's really an incredible loan that is coming the way of the police department and the BDF, and we're going to take full advantage of it to upgrade all of our infrastructure and equipment.
There was chopping on Marine Parade on Saturday, and it happened around 4 p.m. in what was reportedly an unprovoked attack from a homeless man. It left 22-year-old Akeem Patterson with a cut wound to the head. Police were called and quickly arrived on the scene, but they too were attacked by the machete man and only managed to subdue Patterson's assailant with a shot to the leg. And this morning, Senior Superintendent Hilberto Romero told us that those were no rubber bullets.
On Saturday around 4 p.m., Akeem Patterson reported that he was at Marine Parade when he was approached by a male person who inflicted a chapung to him on his head for no apparent reason. The police was called. The police responded, at which point the male person who had inflicted the chapung assaulted the police with the machete, and as a result he was shot to the leg. The male person was identified as Francis Ramos, a Belizean of no fixed address. He was taken to the KHMH, where he remains in a stable condition. Akeem Patterson was treated and released from the KHMH.
Ramos remains in a stable condition at the KHMH and is expected to be charged and released. And that's all we have for you for tonight. Thanks for watching With You on News. I'm Indira Craig. Remember that you can wash your hands, wear a mask at all times in public, and to keep your social distance. The curfew starts at 10 p.m. tonight, so please stay inside. Stay safe. Join me back here tomorrow at 6, and until then, have a great night.